The sonority group walked in and they're taking pictures. They just walked in and
Did they get some of that?
yes. So when she goes to sit down, I'll put the camera back.
Did she show you that?
No, not they have. She has a
Hello. I hope that everybody has got a raffle ticket. If you don't, please raise your hand and somebody will come and give you a raffle. Okay.
She didn't write it.
Okay.
They're dance shoes.
Yeah. Oh, now.
Oh, without winning. That'd be hard.
Oh.
I think that was great. Mix of stuff. People coming in. Good evening. Good evening, and thank you for joining us today. Welcome to Author Works. I'm Rohan Gupta, Adult Learning and Innovation Specialist, and super excited to welcome our wonderful guest, Sheila Rohan. Sheila Rohan is a founding member of the Dance Theater of Harlem. She toured extensively in the United States, the Caribbean, and Europe, performing as soloist in several works in the repertoire, including Dula, Biofera, Tones, and Rhythmatron. Sheila is currently on the board of directors of the Romare Bearden Foundation, a founding member of Clark Center NYC, and a performer with 5 Plus Ensemble, a theater group for dancers over 50.
Oh, yeah.
Before we dive into the fascinating story of Sheila Rohan, a few housekeeping details. Please note the exits. There's one right there, one at the back, plus the 2 exits came in through. This event will be followed by a book signing, and the book is available for purchase in partnership with the Last Word Bookstore. And we have received some totally rad tote bags from Penguin Random House. And on the other side is even cooler. It says, "We danced because we love to dance." They are stuffed with some cool surprises, and we will be raffling them out. So please make sure that you have your raffle ticket. If you don't have it, please raise your hand, and Angie or someone will get them to you. I'd like to welcome the members and guests of the Columbia MD Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority. This public service organization has been serving Howard County since 1971 under the leadership of their chapter president, Eugenia D. Woodson. The chapter continues its path of advocacy and program development to meet the needs of the community. Support of this AuthorWorks program tonight reflects Delta Sigma Theta's national commitment to arts and letters. A very special thanks to Jamaica Kodo for her support. I would also like to thank Erica Cody and 2 of our other staff instructors, Angie Engels and Mariam Shadmeyer, who are helping us with this event. Also, I would like to thank Friends and Foundation of Howard County Lottery System. Today we have many in our audience who have a special connection to Sheila and to ballet. Art Bernardo, his sister Deborah Bernardo danced with Sheila and other Swans of Harlem. Julie Frisbee, I don't know if she's here. Julie Frisbee, she danced with the Royal Academy of Ballet. And she was also recognized, and I don't recognize the name right to me about that. Perhaps you could talk about that a little later. And thank you so much for being here tonight. And the Swans of Harlem tells the forgotten story of a pioneering group of 5 Black ballerinas and their 50-year sisterhood. A legacy erased from history until they decided to take it back. And that is wonderful. And now to hear this incredible story from the person who has lived it, a warm welcome to Sheila Rohan and her daughter Shorty, a naturalist and an author herself. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having us. We're so honored to be here. Let me give a shout out to one person who I actually as an adult and practice ballet, and that's with Mexico. As a local ballet studio and a local ballet company here in Columbia. And so shout out to you, Mexico, because she actually kept me moving forward. All right, so this is an honor. I get to have a conversation with my mommy. So I'm gonna ask some questions and we have some slides for you, a little pictorial history, and then we'll open it up for questions too. So we won't do all the talking, we'll give you some chances to make your comments and questions, and anything we don't handle here, then you can ask it away. So mommy, I'm gonna move the slide down one. Isn't that wonderful? How did you come to embrace ballet?
Well, it does so happen that I was a sickly child, and unfortunately, I got caught up in the polio epidemic in the 40s. So, and as part of my healing, I wasn't feeling too badly. But,
Want to switch?
the doctor said as part of my healing that I should have some exercise. So in those days, we didn't have gymnastics or Pilates and stuff. But there was a local dance school, storefront. They taught ballet and tap, and you had to do a spring concert every year. So I started in that. And I took right away to ballet. I just loved it. And I continued on there for a few years. And then my sister, well, I guess I have to give you some background. I was born and raised on Staten Island. We have 8 sisters. There's 8 of us. And my mother was a single mom because we lost my father when I was a year old. So we still to this day look at each other and say, how did she do it?
Right.
But we managed. These are all of us. And I'm the youngest. And these are us. There's only 5 of us left now. This is my sister Nanette, who turned out to be my patron. She would meet me at the ferry on Saturdays and take me over to Manhattan to dance classes. She bought me my first pair of point shoes and all my leotards and tights, and always encouraged me in dance. So she loved dance herself. She was a model, as you can see over there. And she loved the theater. Her husband is the well-known, famous artist, Rohan Bearden. So she was Nanette Rohan Bearden. And she was with me throughout my whole, she made a career for me really, because I had children at that time. I had 3 children and I was still pursuing dance.
So how did you balance work and life and home life as a young mom?
Like we all balance when we have to. First of all, I had a supportive husband, yes. He encouraged me, he said, go for it. And then, of course, I had an extended family. Everyone chipped in. I could send the children, to my sisters to babysit. And we also had a neighborhood where you could rely on the babysitters and you didn't have to worry about your children being abused. So that's how I managed. Not to say it wasn't difficult, because the days when the children were sick, or the school was out, and you can't get, and I couldn't get to rehearsals and things. There were occasions that it was stressful. But like I said, we managed. It was something, we all like to do, because that's me and Charlie. The children and I always involved them in whatever activity I was doing, and I turned out to be more or less a community worker. I was always teaching dance after school programs, PAL, United activities on it. We always had something going on. And in the neighborhood, they knew me as the dancing lady. Dance teacher. And these are my son Gary, Charlene, my daughter Sheila, and their father, Ellsworth Mitchell.
Okay, so here we are, the Dance Theater of Harlem. What was Mr. Mitchell's vision and mission for the Dance Theater of Harlem?
Well, I have to say, when I first went up there to dance theater, of course, again, with the encouragement of my sister Nanette, because I would never dream of being in a dance company, especially a ballet company, when I had 3 children and I was in my 20s. So, but I went anyway, not knowing that it was going to be such a big endeavor. And Mr. Mitchell, like the first audition I passed, and he took me into the company. So he was, well, I'll say his mission was to prove that blacks could do classical ballet. That was his vision. And this is what he instilled in us. This is what we worked towards. That to do ballet on the highest level, to develop ourselves, to get the technique and the performance quality that was needed. So he was very strict, a hard worker, no fooling around. Everything had to be just perfect. This is my little daughter here on Sheila. We used to have open houses for the public, 3 open houses on Sundays, and people would come to see us dance. Yeah. This is Valentine's Luciano Barocco, and I'm there second from the last in that, yes. This is another ballet here with that one of the dancers Walter Raines choreographed for the company. And here I am backstage with the wardrobe. This is a black woman called Miss Wynn. And Miss Wynn did costumes for Cotton Club, Broadway shows, and we heard that she did the original Playboy money costume. So we were lucky to have her, and she struggled with us. We had no money. You know, we always the problem of the costumes and where to get the materials from, and sewing machines. I think Singer, or one of those companies, did donate some of the machines to us in the beginning. Yeah, so this is backstage. This is Jeffrey Holden's ballet Dupla that we all love, and it was quite an experience working with someone like Jeffrey Holden. He was really a wonderful artist, and we learned a lot from him.
So describe the experience of the first world tour with the Dance Theater of Harlem. Where did you go? What type of audience did you see, and how did they receive you?
Well, our first big tour out of the United States was to Italy. We went to the Spoleto festival in Italy. And all of us really were just so excited. Some of us had never even been on planes, airplanes before. But here we were at this festival, which there were performers from all over the world, and not just dance, but it was opera and drama, and there was some dances from the Bolshoi, entertainment. So here we are in all this mix of this greatness, and we felt a little intimidated because we had only been together maybe 2.5 years. We said, well, what are they gonna think of us? They're gonna make fun of us. Mr. Rich was like, forget it. I don't want to hear it. You know, you're as good as anyone here. You know, don't, there's a way to present yourself. You know, we are going to do the best, and that's all we can do. We're going to do the best we can do. And we ended that night, this is one of the dances we did, to standing ovations. People wouldn't stop. And we had, every evening was the same thing. It was so inspiring and so encouraging to us that these people from all over Europe, all over the world, really, because this was a world famous festival, they really loved us.
Like dancing for the Queen.
That was the Queen Mother. The Queen Mother. Yes, we went to the London Palladium and we danced before. And it was a program. Joseph B. Baker was on that program. Harry Como. For those of you old enough to remember. Harry Como. Yeah. It was fabulous. And then at the end, she came down and we all spoke and we did a little bow. This is the first company. Yeah, this is us. And this is the company that first went to Europe.
What did you do after you left the dance theater?
My sister Nanette had developed a company, a contemporary dance company. And I would work with her off and on when I could, when my schedule with dance theater would permit. And when I left the dance theater Harlem, I started working full time with Nanette in this. I was a principal dancer and ballet mistress, and I also taught. She had students coming in, she had a student program. So she was really coming along with this project. Yes, also at that time, I was asked to come to teach at the Alvin School. And I was there for quite a few years teaching children and also in the adult program. This is in the early 90s. Gordon Parks made a film on Martin Luther King. And it was a film made specifically for TV, for television.
PBS.
Yes, and it ran every, like History Month. I danced the part of Rosa Parks in it.
You can see it on PBS.
It's on YouTube, yes. This is the 5+ ensemble. Unfortunately, we're not together anymore. We tried, but when the pandemic came in, we disbanded. Mostly because we didn't have any money. We had these ambitious dreams of putting this company together, and everyone was, giving their time. Nobody was being paid. And some of these dances, in the middle is Carmen de la Vallade, the whole Clark. So these are people that, high level, say. And they were just giving their time, but we found it hard to keep it going. So we did disband. Well, we had a couple very successful performances at the City College, Aaron Davis Hall, and Dance Theater of Harlem did ask us up, and we had a salon there.
Now, how did you meet each of the swans?
These swans go, at least two of them here were at my original audition. The audition day, we were there that day. And it was Gail McKinney in the middle there, Lydia Barker, and me, and there's another woman who became the artistic director at Dance Theater, Virginia Johnson. So we had been, of course, off and on through the years. We always kept in touch. And we had been making calls like Zoom. We learned how to Zoom. And we started having this, and the idea was to get together the alumni, the Dance Theater alumni, just to get us together because their original tribe association wasn't doing anything. So we said, it's a shame, let's try to stay together. And so we would make calls to different dancers and ask them to send in their memories, their bios, and send us a picture. And let's see, how we could go. Let's see what would happen. So it just so happens that one of the girls, her name is Martha Sells, she knew a literary agent who knew a writer, a journalist. And the journalist, Karen Dalby, she came to talk with us and was very interested in our story. She got us, we had a full-length page in the New York Times, the Sunday Times Arts and Entertainment section. And from that, we got an interview on TV. We went to Boston and we had an interview with Misty Copeland. Yeah. And then they said, well, how about a book? Let's write a book, not a dance book with a lot of fancy pictures. To tell about our lives. Each one of us is a memoir of each one of the ladies. Before, during, and after our experience with Dance Theater College. So that's how the book came about, and that's what it's about. How we lived before and how we managed afterwards. This is a good, dear friend of mine. Her name is Gail McKinney Griffith. She was there the first day, and we stayed in touch all these years. We lost Gail last October to chronic illness. She was our first ballet mistress for the Dance Theater of Harlem. And she helped us to cope with Mr. Mitchell. She was like our liaison. She helped us to get, besides that, she was a wonderful, beautiful ballerina. She was a principal dancer also. And now on the end here is her daughter, Khadija, who has joined us. So she comes, yes. Matter of fact, Khadija is going to be in November. She's going to be appearing in Harry Potter. Yeah, she's got a part in Harry Potter. Khadija was a dancer, mother trained her, and and her mother also, Gail, taught at Connecticut, the University of Connecticut. So, yeah, here we are. I'd like to say their names. Okay. So Khadija, next we have Lydia Abarca, who was the prima ballerina of the dance theater of Harlem, really. Mr. Mitchell took to her right away because she could do the Valentine style. He trained her in the Valentine style, and she was a lovely, beautiful dancer. Collier, she came later. Collier, Shelton, Benjamin. Marcia Sells, she was just a baby. She was just barely a teenager when he took her in the company, yeah. And then that's me there in the end. And at the very end is Karen Bobby, the woman who wrote the book. Who is, yeah, and she's become a very dear friend of ours. Yeah. This is the interview we did with Misty Copeland. Yeah. The Philadelphia Ballet had us do a residency 2 years ago. And we came, and I know we were saying, oh, how could they? Yeah. We did a master class with this company. You know, we think, how could we teach the company? But we did. And they loved it. They were very respectful, and they loved it. Yes. This is us there. There was a gala that night, and the Philadelphia Ballet, yeah. This is Chicago, and the gentleman in the middle is a good friend, Homer Bryant, and he was also one of the first company dancers. He now has a dance company in Chicago. Here we are, just cozy. See, we're on our book tour, so we've been to several different states. This is in DC, politics and prose, yes. This woman, very important to dance to, the woman in the middle with the veil. Her name is now Amina Ahmad. But when she was with us dancing, she was Yancy Stevenson. Wow. And Yancy used to take dark tights and put over her pink tights, because she said it made her look thinner, a long liner, and it makes her color. That so, and then Mr. Mitchell, after seeing it a few times, he took to this. And he said, well, let's try this. Let's all dance in flesh color, tights, and shoes. And then we started experimenting with dyeing the tights to get the difference. Some people were light skin, some are dark skin. We tried makeup on our shoes, you know, pancake makeup and whatnot, and different dyes. And so now that's why you see Dance Theater Harlem is in flesh color beige, flesh color tights, and shoes. And now Capizio even sells them because of this lady here.
All right, so what's the next for the Swans of Harlem? So share with us the end purpose of your 152nd.
Well, we've developed so far as we now have a website. And yes, our dream, our goal and project is to get funding together so that we can give scholarships to dance students and to dance institutions that need it. Our first is going to be point shoes. We're going to do a campaign to get some money to give to the children point shoes, because you know a point shoe costs $102. At least my Capizio. I didn't check others, but that's the going price. So if you have a child or two, you're there. Depends on the work you do. You need a shoe for class, a shoe for rehearsal, maybe less, you need, yes. They don't last that long, depending on how much work you do. So we'll start with that and then we'll, because even if we could work our way up to, money for tuition, some kids just need car fare and lunch money just to get there. So we're taking all that into consideration, and this is the goal, this is what we're gonna start working on. And also, we're spreading the word on, who should that do ballet and who can. You see, but already New York City Ballet this season had a black girl do the Nutcracker. They have a principal dancer now, black, in the company. And I think there's more than one win that someone took Misty Copeland's place. And there are several black male dancers. And also Spanish, Asian. So it's coming around, slowly, but this is 50 years or more. We're still talking about this. You see, Josephine Baker and those other ladies had to go to Europe. Many of my friends who I was training with had to go to Europe. And they found work because they were good. They were good, their technique, everything was good. It's just that, well, the standard here didn't allow for them. So, yeah.
Okay. So we have some time for questions, some comments. Any questions or comments?
Oh.
Yeah.
Hello.
Thank you so much. I wonder, were you in the original casting?
Yes.
Well, can you talk more about getting that set on you guys and how?
Can you step in? Because they're filming.
If you could come this way, if you come this way.
Okay, I'm curious about the experience of creating Google and whether, how it was received when they first, I mean, it's not a classical ballet by any measure, right? And how did you guys adapt to that style of the head bob and all that kind of stuff?
Working with Jeffrey Holder. He really taught us everything that we needed to know about because the ballet itself.
I know.
The ballet itself is a cross between Indian and Afro-Caribbean dance. So there's a certain quality of movement that we needed to do, and also to look very majestic. The dance really doesn't have a storyline. It's more of a ritual. The costumes, of course, are so fabulous because this is one of the things Jeffrey Holder was known for, his costuming, his beautiful designs. And yes, we did learn, she said, the head bobs, because it was, and Yes, many long hours. And then performing it, we were all we loved it. Plus it was original music, which written by Tanya Leone, who was working with the Dance Theater of Harlem from the very beginning. She is now a world famous composer and conductor, Tanya Leone. She was from Cuba. She is from Cuba. She's from Tanya. Yes, yes, she is. Yeah. She could hardly speak English in those days. Wow. We used to do sign language. And she played the piano for ballet class. So anyway, she wrote this music for Dubla under Jeffrey's instruction. Also, he had a full range of the whole production. And the night that we opened, it was so wonderful because as soon as we walked on the curtain opened, the audience exploded. Because there we were with we started out in the white skirts. Yes, and it was just.
Back in those days, it was a full orchestra that you danced with.
Yes. Mm-hmm. It was mostly drumming. It was mostly drumming, but live. So I was called the bride. They brought the bride in, and there was like a scene, a marriage scene of a bride meeting with the groom, and those kind of festivities. Because I said the ballet doesn't really have a storyline, but it had scenes. And that was one of the ones that I was in as the bride.
Yes. If you can use your outside voice to come on.
Yes.
Good evening, thank you so much for your presentation. My question is, what was your favorite performance and why was it so special to you?
Well, that was, as I mentioned before, when we went to Spoleto in Italy. It was the first time being in Europe, the first time really flying, just being around all those beautiful, and everyone was so nice. So, I mean, prima ballerinas from Russia, talking to us, coming in our dressing room, opera singers, and then the people in the town, the little town of Spoleto. It was very picturesque, what you would imagine a little Italian town would be. And the people, it was just a wonderful, wonderful experience. I know the rehearsals and everything were, well, it was stressful, and because of the European stages, and we, of course, us being nervous about how we were going to be received, but putting that aside, I think that was really my favorite memory, and it opened me up to what this could really be, where we could really take this. I mean, we could really do this.
I would like to say, I've been knowing Miss Sheila over 70 years. At least 86. I was invited tonight from my BFF that I've known over 70 years. And we all came from Staten Island, New York City together. I am so amazed. All I can remember from Staten Island was Sales Not Hard.
Oh, yeah.
Where you danced.
Dancing.
All right, we went to different concerts that she danced at. She was a baby.
Still is.
But I am so happy to be here. And I just see you. And what you went through. I didn't know you went through all this. I knew you was famous, but not famous. You are famous. And you guys don't know what we had to go through. This was over in the 50s and 60s.
Yeah, civil rights,
Yes.
that whole
We
thing.
went through a lot because we lived on Staten Island. There was no bridge at that time. We had to take a ferry. If you missed that ferry, you spent the night in the lobby of the ferry. So I know what you went through, but I am thoroughly amazed. I love you. Thank you very much for inviting me. And you guys don't know, this is precious. This is precious.
Forgive me, I lost my voice recently, so thank you, Ms. McClain, for being here. And, saying, actually, I was in the dance theater in 2002, 2005. I was in the dance theater barriers ensemble. Yes. So it's wonderful to be here with you. And actually, I know a dear friend of yours, Derek Williams.
Oh, yes.
And he wanted me to send love to you. I just spoke to
He
you
was
earlier
my
today.
partner, Derek.
And sorry to go back to favorites, but I wanted to ask if you had a favorite ballet, and then also just about partnerships. And mentioned Derek Williams was a partner. He was Darian Smith.
Well, one of my favorite ballets was the Concerto Barocco by Balanchine. The music is Bach, which I love. And coming in as ballet dancers, we were on different levels. Some of us, like I said, Yancy Stevenson, she was already performing and she was already a ballerina. But some of us on different levels. So when we're going to take on these ballets by Mr. Balanchine, because we did that and another one called Agon, and it was difficult. It was very difficult. And some of us struggled. But like I was saying to him, Derek Williams, he was one of my partners, and we worked together. He was such a wonderful, kind, and we called him Gentleman Jim. Partly because he came from Jamaica and he had that British accent. Yes. And we all worked together. It wasn't like jealousy and I don't want to work with her and I don't want to work with it. It was no. Not with this group. We were all in it together, working together to make everything work.
Tell us about the family you used to develop, the families.
Oh, yes, they made like family trees. I was a mother, and then I had other dancers onto me. And there was like a mentorship. My kids would come to me when they had a problem. And also the men, they were fathers, uncles, and aunts and uncles. So, yes, that's how if someone new came in the company, take them under wing, we'd say, Gail would say, well, I'll take her. And then you could take her. It was that kind of really loving, caring, supporting atmosphere.
Could I say a quick question?
Yeah, you call it out.
Hi, good evening. My name is Art Bernardo. I was introduced earlier, much to my surprise, but my sister Deborah Bernardo danced with Sheila in Dance Theater Harlem. But I have so many connections to dance theater, obviously, through my sister. I used to, as a teenager, I used to go to the rehearsals in Harlem. Just amazed at just the physical prowess and the demands of Arthur Mitchell. It's just amazing. I went to college out in California, and I was able to see dance theater a couple times in Berkeley and in LA, and took classmates to performances. But most recently, my sister Deborah and I threw a 90th birthday party for my mother in Denver, and we invited Carly because Carly lives in Denver, the Swans. I also happen to be a roommate of Carly's brother back in the 80s when I lived in Denver. So Carly and I started talking, and this was in April, and the book came out, I think, right after that. And I'm a fervent supporter of the book and of Dance Theater Harlem. And so long story short is, I'm a member of an all-black male book club. Very rare thing. And we meet over Zoom. And in mid-August, we had the pleasure of having Sheila, Marcia, Lydia, and of course Claudia and Karen Belvin on the Zoom call. And my sister Deborah was on as well. And we got into a deep discussion about the racism they faced, again, the physical prowess and just the amazing bodies that you all developed over time. But we spent a lot of time talking about Arthur Mitchell and the amazing vision that he had for Dance Theater Harlem, and the fact that he left. Well, I guess he started it after Martin Luther King was murdered. Anyway, so I just wanted to share that story because, I'm a fervent supporter. I love my sister, I love Black ballet, and I love Dance Theater Harlem.
Right.
Hello, everyone. It is such an honor to be here to see you and to hear about your experiences. My name is June Christie, and I have sort of a different story because I was a child over in London in 1950, and my father was in the military, he was stationed there. I'm one of three, and my mother had two small children to take care of. And so she wanted something to do with this 4-year-old. So she decided that I would go to school because in London, you begin school at 4. So she enrolled me in school. And part of the program at the school was to have ballet lessons at the end of the day. And so, of course, she enrolled me. My mother never thought that any situation was something we couldn't do, so she just put us in. And at the end of the year, we had an opportunity to audition and be selected to go to a competition to be judged. And I was selected, and I was judged by Margot Fontaine and Rudolph Nureyev.
Wow.
And much to everyone's surprise, I won. We stayed in London for a few more years, and I continued with the Royal Academy of Ballet. And then we came to the United States. Well, again, my parents, it was now 1956 or something, and they said, well, listen, you need to join ballet here. So I went and I auditioned, and I was accepted into the Dayton Ballet Company and the Ballet Company of Columbus, Ohio. And one day they gave me the opportunity to perform Swan Lake, The Dying Swan, on television. So that's and I went on to just dance for many years. And this is one of my my good friends who also dance. I went to Morgan. I begged my parents to let me come to New York to the dance theater part. I can see myself crying right now. But I didn't want to put this out. I didn't get to do it, but when my son, who was a soccer player, went to college, he went to Yale, and he walked across there with his big shoulders. And one of the girls came up and said, "Oh, I bet you'd be good. You could lift this up in ballet." I said, "Well, maybe." And so he became a Yale dancer.
Wow.
And he took the skills that he learned in soccer to do his choreography. So if you've been to a lot of soccer games, you could see the positioning, you know, and how they move, jump. It was very, very interesting. And so I just want to tell you, it's just been a pleasure to hear your story and to have a chance to meet you. Thank you.
I just wanted to ask a question. How was the salaries back then?
There wasn't really anything. I started as an apprentice then. So you got a stipend, which was really car fare.
Oh my God.
And then as we went on, maybe a couple of years, $100 a week, or you just got paid each performance. So if there's no performance, right now everything is all unionized and everything, and everyone gets a set amount. But there was very little. So we were dancing for the money.
Dance 'cause you love to dance. Dance 'cause you love to dance. Yep.
You'll read in the book that where Lydia says, one of the reasons she left dance theater is because she wasn't making any money, and she wanted to buy her mother a house to get her out of the project.
Yeah.
She was living in the project in Harlem. And one of the reasons is she had a chance to go to Broadway. And she left dance theater. That was one of the reasons.
Okay.
So I have a technical question, and you mentioned about the English stages compared to the American stages. Were they bigger, shorter? What was the difference?
Well, the stages in Europe are what we call raked, so they're coming down on a slope like this. So try doing some pirouette. So we had to learn all of that as fast as we could. I mean, they tried to keep, Mr. Mitchell tried to prepare us before we went. But no, you have to be on the stage. So that was one. And we did have a couple of falls, dances falling. But that's, not all stages, but many stages still in Europe are the rake stages. Yeah, they come down like this on an angle. Right.
So before we go into the book signing, I believe we're going to do a raffle.
The station number is 77. Raffle tickets, and it's 779270. So 9270.
Wait, I can't find mine.
And our next one is 779263. 9263. I know somebody has it because we just gave it away. So 9263, and if you find it, we still are holding the ticket. We'll go on to the next one. It's 9239. Okay, we'll keep it coming. The next one is 9226. Our next number is 9265.
Gotta go that way.
9265. I know where it is. 9202. So that's, okay, right there, 9202. Then we have 9264. Okay, good. Right up there. This is a 9198. 9247.
Look at that. Oh, wow. Wait.
9232. Okay. Right. They're all different. Oh, okay, really? So that's where the word upstage comes from.
Wow.
Our next number is 9211. 9252. That is 9256. Oh. 9266. And 9244. 9250. So we have 9188. 9233. Great. Yay for library.
One more, last one.
And our last one is 9267. 7. Thank you.
Keep it rolling.
So 9191. Well, thank you so much for being here tonight, and Sheila will be signing books. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Sheila. Thank you, Charlie.